go. Ladies and gentlemen, the rating video for Valkyria Chronicles, which I am recording extremely late, which means I'm going to have to adjust like this and like the next one because I got ahead of myself. Like 2 rating videos. How ironic is that? Anyways. Here we go. Oh. Plus 96 to story. Very, very nice score. And of course, plus 20 to gameplay. Gameplay didn't fare as well, but that's to be expected. It did. Really good story, though. So, let's get into it, shall we? I like the sprite work. I like the brickwork. Eric, I adore the animations. That was a triple. I like the visual storytelling. I like the foreshadowing. Good use of Babylon 5 effect, especially in regards to Alicia. Good world building. I thought the world building was actually pretty good. Yeah, there will be some good and some not so good world building in later entries, but otherwise, yeah. So the codex, personnel, weaponry, and glossary tabs in book mode all constitute some good background lore. Gameplay story integration is on point. I love the way this game weaves the themes of war, loss, and unbending spirit into the story wonderfully. Good use of tone. Good internal continuity, because obviously there's not going to be any external continuity because this is the first in the series. But the internal continuity is very good. Good story sequencing. I gave a plus to humor because I laughed at this game a lot. And then, of course, I gave a positive to the only other scene that actually made me laugh out loud, like super hard, and that was Martha having her baby in the Edelweiss. That was awesome. It made me laugh, but it was also one of the most wholesome moments in the story. So that was good. Speaking of which, good use of Devil May Cry effect. Serious and silly are measured properly in this one. I went ahead and gave a triple positive to the music direction, because I thought the music direction was excellent. As was the dialogue, which was also a triple positive. It's written to inform characterization and works wonderfully. So, which also leads us into a positive for localization, as well as a positive for pacing and banter, especially in the special report chapters. And while I would have preferred unknowns in the cast, I will admit the voice acting and voice direction are both really well done. And 2 positives each. So 31 presentation positives. Not too shabby. Now let's get into the character positives, shall we? Vulcan, 2 positives. Alicia, 2 positives. Isara, 2 positives. I've said my piece all throughout the entirety of the stream. They are awesome characters and I adore them, you know? I liked Captain Virat. I thought she was very, very well characterized, and I absolutely love the fact that her character, the fact that she kind of goes, that she starts acting differently in her report is actually kind of a point. Excuse me. It's kind of a point. So, yeah. I liked Faldio, for the most part. Despite some of her more questionable moments, I did end up giving Rosie a positive. I will admit, though, her character arc, on the other hand, actually works really well. She takes a bit to get there, right? This is Volume 1 Weiss done well, kind of thing, right? So, triple positive there. I gave Largo a positive. I thought he was kind of awesome. Awesome as the dad/mentor. Ellet was awesome. I thought she was just a hoot. Gregor was actually interesting as a villain. I kind of didn't like him last time, but now I kind of see him as kind of like an interesting example of the stuck-up aristocrat. And he also gets his comeuppance, so I really can't. I kind of feel like it's actually well done enough that I can't that he's worthy of a positive. Jaeger was 2 positives. He is fascinating as a villain as he is respectful of his enemy and, unlike Gregor, doesn't dismiss the fact that we took back Vassal. So, yeah, 2 positives to him. Alright, this one I kind of had fun just typing out because, I mean, it's me and, obvious assumptions are going to be obvious here, but Sylvaria is easily my favorite character, and no, it's not just because of her boobs, okay? She's well-rounded, not like that, well-developed, get your head out of the gutter, and her loyalty to Maximilian is interesting as her greatest strength and her fatal flaw. So, yeah, triple positive there. Speaking of Maximilian, he was interesting as the main villain, as he is arrogant but not stupid, and I kind of like that. Even if he does kind of turn into, kind of go blah, 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 by the end. But yeah. I enjoyed Zaka. I thought he was great, so 2 positives there. And then I also gave a positive to not only Johann, a double positive to Johann from the DLC Behind Her Blue Flame, but I also gave their chemistry, his chemistry with Sylvaria in particular, icular positive. So, and I also gave, and Yuri Lorenthal's performance as Johann is the only one that I felt warranted a full-on positive by itself, as it was honestly one of only a few performances that work for me at all and help bring the character to life. It's not that the rest of the voice acting is bad, it's just that's the one where I'm like, that's good voice acting, Everyone else is doing good, and, but it's more of a general good rather than a singular performance actually kind of carrying the rest. I would argue Johann's performance is actually carrying Behind Her Blue Flame, which is good because, of a couple of a gameplay negative we'll get to later. I like the opening narration as it gets us up to speed on the war and what it's about, as well as the major players. So, the whole Brule section, the prologue through Chapter 2, works as the game's intro, and I really, really like it. That is effectively what that is. It's Welkin's bet with Largo, ergo, is just kind of awesome, and I love that it shows Welkin's confidence. I also adore Welkin's plan for retaking Vassal Bridge. The get the Edelweiss across the river, and then everybody else comes on boats. That was awesome. The side story Ellet Embedded is a great look into the character and to flesh out the main members of Squad 7. That's when she's conducting the interviews with Squad 7. Largo's passion was just kind of an interesting and fun way for Welkin and Largo to bond. And I absolutely love how he's like, I want to be a veggie farmer. Go ahead and laugh. And Welkin's just like, I'm not laughing. Vegetables are very important. And he even comes up with a way to say it in his way, basically meet Largo halfway and be like, yeah, vegetables are awesome. Listen, they can take in when you eat them, you kind of take in the power of nature itself. I love that Largo's just like, power of nature, huh? Man, I've never heard anybody talk about vegetables quite like that, but cool. Then there's the heart-to-heart scene between Welkin and Alicia about Welkin's dad, which is a nice dive into why Welkin loves nature. This comes during chapter 8, I believe. Yeah, chapter 8. Then there's the whole Fritz scene. I really like the scene where Fritz, the soldier Welkin and Alicia try to save, when his commander asks them why they had to save his life. It humanizes the Empire. There are monsters in the Empire, but they are not all evil monsters who love nothing but killing. I like the humanization of that, to kind of a splash of cold water kind of thing, because up to this point, the Empire were just stormtroopers, complete with an ability to aim even. So, yeah. No, even if I stand alone, no, especially if I stand alone, triple positive to that scene. I like the banquet scene. Shows off that politics always make war all the murkier, and honestly, Faldio storming out just makes perfect sense to me. It's like, yeah, no, I feel you, dude. The frickin' political bullshit is strong with that scene, as it's supposed to be, hence why it's a positive. I do like Welkin questioning Cordelia's attitude towards her responsibilities. It starts her character arc as well, and that's good stuff. The scene where Welkin receives a medal for rescuing Cordelia is kind of awesome and foreshadows later revelations. Then there's the beach episode, Squad 7's R&R, which, yeah, okay, a beach episode, great. But actually, no, it's used for characterization, not just to titillate. It's not, oh, look at the bodies on these, on these women. No, it's more of just, okay, now, let's show Welkin and Alicia getting together. Let's show Rosie being kind of a troublemaker, and let's just see the group bonding over beach volleyball. That's what that whole thing is about, and I kind of like that. And it was also nice that we sidestepped any pettiness and bullshit, so that was good. But to shift to a more serious topic, the burning of the Darkson concentration camp. This is a Hummel moment, and a powerful one. Rosie's reaction, Zaka's reaction, and especially the understated nature of Rosie changing. When I say Rosie is confronted with real racism, this is the scene I'm talking about. Rosie may not like Darksons, but this is what happens when racism is cranked to the extreme. This is because again, Rosie's like, I don't like dark hairs, but that's as far as that goes. She'll yell at them. She'll call them. She'll call them dark hair. She'll insult them. Blah 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 blah. But she won't force them into a building and set it on fire. Oof. Speaking of death, Isara's death. This is how you do a shock death right. It is sudden, directed well, and best of all, it does not feel like we're fridging Isara. As Isara is a full-on character before this, they're trying to make you feel it instead of just, making the impact moot, So triple positive there, and then the funeral. Oh, it hits me even harder than the death itself. Well, Rosie's song, the flashbacks, the way the music swells, all of it hits me even now, and it just works. This is how you make a death matter. Best of all, the impact is felt through the entire rest of the game. Triple positive. Now for one you might call me insane on, but I love the fact that Varrot went to General Damon and begged for Squad 7 to be the ones to recapture Brule, as I feel that is just poetry. Triple positive. And then Chapter 12 in general is just a great breather chapter, and one that is used as setup. Hey, if you're going to have a chapter for setup, might as well make it so that said setup is happening during a lull in the story, you know? Then there's Alicia versus Silvaria's Valkyria fight. The Alicia versus Silvaria Valkyria fight. Hey, it's kind of short and kind of wonky, if I'm honest, but it is still one of the most hype moments in the game. It also helps that it makes sense how Alicia is able to win, too, because she's not conscious during that. Her body's just kind of moving on instinct. Ultra instinct, you might even say. Then the reveal of Faldio's choice and Welkin's rage at that it is a good scene that shows the power escalation dilemma well. I do feel like all sides are kind of being idiotic on that. Faldio is saying we need power, we need to just keep escalating our power. Welkin says we never need to escalate our power. And Varrot's just kind of punishing them both. In my opinion, you should only escalate your power if somebody else does. Because then you're not the aggressor, right? So, yeah. Now, while I don't think it was needed, per se, I do love the Language of Flowers scene that's right after the worst map in the game. This is during the report with the refugee camp. Yep, it's a really terrible map. We'll get into it in the gameplay negatives. But the Language of Flowers scene is a great moment that helps Welkin stand strong and shows how/why he recovered as quickly as he did from the emotional damage. So, and since it ties into the game's themes, yeah, that's a triple positive. I like the report, What Lies Beyond Hate. Great examination of Varrot's character. With special mention to Geld escaping right into Maximilian's firing squad. Perfect. The Valkyria's final flame is probably my favorite of the pre-rendered scenes, as it ends Damon's life with good fucking riddance and shows Silvaria's character off beautifully. Even if in my setting, that happens a little bit differently because, yeah. Welkin's confession of love is as awesome as it is annoying and stupid. It's well directed. It flows with the themes wonderfully, but is also really fucking stupid when one takes all of the rest of the game's visual storytelling into account. This is yet another Eunice speech from Cold Steel 4, so triple positive there, and it's going to get a triple negative as well. Jaeger's final scene shows off his character well. I like the Cordelia twist, that she is a Darkson and not Valkyria. I feel that was well done. If you're observant, it can be predicted, but attention is not drawn to it until you think about it carefully. So I like that. It's very similar to a twist is from Legend of Dragoon, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Leon using Isara's plane to save Welkin and Alicia is just awesome and one of my favorite moments in the game. It is soured somewhat with the meh nature of the Faldio stuff in the ending, but I'll just go ahead and give it 2 positives. I also like the epilogue, as I feel it is wonderfully heartwarming and sweet. And the outro, despite the wonkiness of the Faldio stuff, is good and wraps up the story nicely, so 2 positives there. Also, the recon request scene is excellent. Now, if only it didn't require New Game Plus to get. 110 positives overall. Let's get into the 14 negatives. So, at the beginning of in the early game, the story sequencing is a little all over the place. Kind of irritatingly so, if I'm honest. Then there's another one that then this one I chewed on for practically the whole game, but yeah, this game has a serious empty text problem. Mostly in the dialogues during combat. Usually at the start, it repeats info that the regular cutscenes tell you, and that just gets repetitive. It's almost as if you will get this information, like especially the info it tells you in the briefing. They say it in dialogue, and it's like, what? So yeah. General Damon is the worst character in the game, as he is actually badly written. While Mayor Clement from East 10 is debatable about how well written he is, Damon is just plain stupid in a how the fuck has the Empire not won already kind of way. And to add insult to injury, he literally declares himself to be greatness when he is nowhere near. Like, seriously, all of his tactical decisions could be nitpicked to fucking hell and back. And that's by me, somebody who's not even remotely well versed in tactics. Somebody with an actual military background is probably looking at this dumbass and going, how the fuck did you get to become a general? You know? And you think you're gonna get a promotion on top of that? Yeah, sure, buddy. You probably had to pay your way to the fucking top. And considering he's an aristocrat, that's actually possible. Then there's Prime Minister Borg. I feel like he is just awful and is a character that is only good because his voice actor is Dwight Schultz. And again, casting a good actor to be your character is not. Is not good characterization. I talk about that in my Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Shameless plug. Then there's General Damon's line to Varad about recruiting more farmhands, which is just stupid on multiple levels, as multiple drafts have already been sent out, making him a moron. Not to mention the fact that this is an example of inconsistent writing. The scene annoys me so much that as when you're asking, how is the Empire not won already with morons like that in charge, you know it's bad. If there was someone above or hell, even below him that could reason with him and balance him out with logic, then the scene would actually be fine. But as such, it earns a triple negative. Again, a Zaka to Gregor kind of thing. I'll take your advice under consideration, but just remember, I'm the one in charge. Of course, General, but but someone must show you that there is an easier way to win. Yes, I see your point. That kind of thing, right? Then there's the reveal that Borg plans to sell Gallia to the Empire in an attempt to become king. That plot point gives me a goddamn headache. He is so stupid and has not been paying attention to the Empire at all. On top of that, it's a completely unnecessary plot point that is literally forgotten because Maximilian literally puts him to death immediately. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like, duh. Where did you think that was gonna go? So then there's Welkin's confession of love. We already went over that. Triple positive and triple negative. And then in the DLC, Damon uses chemical weapons, and nothing comes of it. The problem here is that we really don't need any more reason to hate Damon's guts, and frankly, I feel it's a step too far. This is needless and stupid. Had Damon survived the story to be crushed in the sequel, maybe this would be good setup. But as is, it is just annoying and stupid. Also, no one rats him out, as we know, because he's in charge throughout the entirety of the main story. I would absolutely willingly be court-martialed to expose this asshole. Well, And I mean that sincerely. I would go before a frickin' court-martial and I'd be like, General Damon uses chemical weapons. It used chemical weapons. Yes, I am calling my general a piece of shit. And I am happily getting court-martialed for it. 14 overall story negatives. Let's move on to the gameplay positives now, shall we? Good save system, as it even lets you save mid-mission. 2 positives to the music. I love this soundtrack. You're hearing it right now. Good HUD, good interface, excellent core combat, good combat animations, good info in game, good tutorials, good tutorialization. With the way things escalate, especially in the intro. Good gameplay story integration, good unit variety, mostly in the classes. Each class plays differently. But also in terms of like the individual members as they have different strengths and weaknesses, which is good. Good map design, good encounter design, good pacing. I like the headquarters. Orders always being available with easy access. This is as part of the game's numerous quality of life features. I love the whole leveling as a class approach to leveling. It's actually really cool. Which also I believe adds to the good power progression curve. I also like the rate in which R&D unlocks, and their cost is not an issue either, which is effectively an itemization positive. I also like the orders given by the aged gentleman in the war cemetery. Those are all really good. I also like orders in general, providing you good kit. I simultaneously love and despise how dumb the enemy AI is. It's fun, but it kind of, it just kind of is like, wow, you guys are really dumb. And good visual distinction. 23 gameplay presentation positives. Now let's get on to the individual maps. The prologue was a nice tutorial and warm-up. Chapter 1 continues the warm-up. Chapter 2 is great at being your first real test while not being a difficulty spike from hell. I gave the entirety of the Brule section, aka the intro, 2 positives. I love Chapter 4's map. It's the first real challenge and a good one. Properly hard and requires strategy to pull off. Triple positive there. Chapter 5's... Then there's Chapter 5's map, which I kind of like. It's kind of fun and has an interesting victory flag. I liked doing Largo's Passion. It was actually an honestly pretty fun mission, especially if you do it as soon as it unlocks. The Batamus is fun to fight. I was sucking hard against the Batamus, but that was because I was not doing it. I was kind of mismanaging my units, so it was still a fun fight and well designed, in my opinion. So yeah, triple positive to the Batamus fight. Then everything just grinds to a halt positive-wise until we get to Chapter 13. As I actually think it's a fun fight and the gimmick is interesting and makes perfect sense. Then there's Alicia's Valkyria mode, which is a cool hyper beam moment, even if you can't use her power yourself. Chapter 15's second map against Sylvaria is fun as hell and challenging in all the right ways. I honestly wasn't sure about it, but replaying it really highlighted the excellent quality of it. Then there's Chapter 17, which is my pick for the best boss fight in the entire game. That is I am 99% sure, Jaeger. So yeah, triple positive to the fight with Jaeger. Marmota's End is pretty good as a penultimate map. It just can't save the outro despite earning 2 positives. And then there's Good New Game Plus. Yes, I would replay this game again in spite of everything. And good viscerality. Then there's the DLC. There's not a lot to the DLC. There's only 8 positives to it. So this is part of Challenge of the ED Detachment. So there's Homer's Challenge, which I felt is well crafted and fun as hell. So yeah, it's easily the best challenge, triple positive. ED's challenge is good. Now, if only my allies weren't blind AF. And then that's it for Challenge of the ED detachment, because the rest of them are all from Behind Her Blue Flame. Assault on Ghirlandaio is honestly really good and shows off Silvaria's ability nicely. I really like it, and as such, yeah, I went ahead and gave it a triple positive. Also, Rout the Galleon Forces is a good map and much better than its harder cousin. Now let's get into the 35 negatives, shall we? The cutaways during combat are unskippable. The things I mean when I say this are stuff like potential activations, victory animations, and Welkin's Squad 7 move out speeches. It slows the pace of combat tremendously and can make it feel like a slog at times. Also, dialogue is contributed to this. Then there's the slowness of the enemy phase, which is annoying as there are some maps that take 2 to 3 times longer than they should. Good, because we have to sit there and watch the enemy waste time. It is just annoying. Adding to this is how absolutely rock stupid the enemy AI is a lot of the time. It's great when they are dumb and it makes my job easier, but the enemy lancers fires a rocket at a blocking rock face that is right fucking there, and it just gets annoying. The leader dies, game over, fail state, double negative. Kind of hate that. Like the way enemies are placed would be fine if the way it Oasis destruction didn't immediately mean game over. And then chapter 6 is just an awful. And then we get into the actual 6 presentation negatives. Now let's get into the maps that sucked. Chapter 6, the obnoxious enemy placement and obnoxious mine placement, and also it's just too damn big of a map. And don't even get me started on those trenches. So yeah, 2 negatives for that. Then there's chapter 8, the first map of chapter 8, which is full of gotcha bullshit, and I kind of hate it. So 2 negatives there. Then there's the second map of chapter 8, which is no better. As it has a massive fetish for lowering your stats, and unless you get rid of the mortar in the north, a feat that will take Welkin and Alicia a minimum of 2 turns to do, you'll have to worry about that on top of that there are 2 tanks and a fuck ton of lancers. Not the worst map in the game in my opinion, but pretty damn close, so double negative there. Then there's chapter 11, which was designed by jerks. First, there's the invulnerable guns, which are used to introduce the smoke rounds, which, okay, fair enough. But why the fuck does every enemy need to have stat down weapons? It's fucking overkill. It makes the map 10 times harder than it honestly should be with that cheap bullshit. So yeah, wasn't a fan. Then there's chapter 14's map, which is annoying as once you finish the first half, Alicia passes out ending your advantage, and then gotcha! 2 irritating tanks show up as bosses. Ugh. Then there's guarding the refugee camp in the report Flower of the Battlefield, which can fuck right off. It is the worst map in the game. Gotcha galore, constant irritations, and frankly, the worst example of the slowness of the enemy phase, hands down. Triple negative to that stupid fucking map. I hate it. Even when I knew what I was doing for the most part, it was fucking stupid and bullshit. Then chapter 16, an awful map. As the only way to get an A rank is to know exactly what you're doing, and it's bullshit. Also, it's a slow map regardless. Then there's Final Showdown, which can eat my entire ass. So here's the problem. Maximilian induces an artificial state with some towers powers which must be damaged to hit him, which is annoying to do when he's blasting you along with said towers. Then there's the regenerating HP mechanic, in which he gains way too much back. And the fact that Phase 2 might as well be one big gotcha moment. So yeah, that was a triple negative as well. Third worst map. Well, no, second worst. I would argue second worst map in the game, and then Chapter 8's second map is the third worst. And then there's also the towers themselves, which randomly regen as well. This is made worse with the fact that they can regen the very turn after they are damaged, leading to frustration. Combine that with the wonky hitbox when using the tank rounds, and yeah, that's a triple negative right there. Yeah, Final Showdown wrecks the outro for me. Not completely, but enough that this neg for the outro itself is, sadly, warranted. Recording a new game plus for a scene is annoying as fuck. Single negative because it's not super important. When we audit Cold Steel 2, yeah, I'm gonna be if I gave it only 1, I'm gonna be upping this to a 3. Yeah, upping that game's that game's negative it got for this to a 3. Jan's is it Jan or Jan? I don't know. Oh, Lancer Dude's challenge can fuck right off. Fucking hell, where do I even begin? Let's start with the lopsided nature of it, where you're either dominating or getting fucked. Then there's the constant reinforcements that number 6 per turn, which sounds manageable right up until you start falling even remotely behind. Combine that with this being the absolute worst example of slow as fuck enemy phases, and yeah, triple negative. Then there's Enter the ED Detachment, which is just wow. That map is annoying. It's manageable, but it's still annoying. And then there's Silencing their Artillery, which is not very good and is a massive spike in difficulty. The only thing that helps it not be the worst map in the game, named the third worst and absolute worst, so yeah, Chapter 8 bumps down to 4, is the fact that you have to earn access to this map. Piece of advice: leave Damon alone during Assault on Gearlandio. You'll thank me later, as this map earns 2 negatives. And then, in general, I decided to give Behind Her Blue Flame aim a double negative triple negative, as it is just rife with really bad RNG when it comes to you hitting and the enemy evading. It gets to be way too much and completely takes me out of it to the tune of a triple negative, for a total of 35 negatives to gameplay. I don't know if I gave an average. I know I failed that on Aria, so I'm going to go ahead and do that for Aria. But yeah, 116, which at a session count of 7, for if you're curious. This left us with 16.5 if positive, roughly 16.5 positives per session. So, good stuff. Valkyria Chronicles, ladies and gentlemen. Good game. Highly recommend it. Especially on the remaster. Yeah, I also recommend 4, admittedly. But, yeah, no, it's good game. Really good game. Really enjoy it. All of the S. Awesome. So yeah, that's it for that. Next up, Halo Reach. That'll be interesting. So until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex signing out. Have a good one. Or wait, is it? Hang on. Now I'm questioning myself. Whoops. I'm pretty sure it is actually Reach next, because I know when I'm recording this, Dio Field is like 2 days away from being done, because of the Yu-Gi-Oh videos. Oh, there we go. VC. Yes, it is indeed Halo Reach next. Okay, yeah, it's Halo Reach. Yeah, I was right. I was right too. So Halo Reach is next. And I'll see you for that in 2 days. For that rating video in 2 days, as the stream is, next. Anyways, I'm rambling. Blue Wolf Alex, the Lore Walker, signing out. Have a good one. See you in Halo Reach.